Hello, thank you for tuning in. Today we will examine social marketing in action, or what I like to call the real deal, real social marketing as it relates to public health. So, exactly what is social marketing? It's a phrase that we've been hearing in a lot of arenas, but what does it mean? The CDC defines social marketing as the application of commercial marketing technology to the analysis, planning, execution, and evaluation of programs designed to influence voluntary behavior of a specific target audience in order to improve their personal welfare and that of society. Now, if you're like me, when you read that definition or when you heard that definition, you may have said, okay, what does that complex, wordy definition mean? So I'm going to break it down for us so that we can grasp a thorough understanding. The first part, the application of commercial marketing technologies. So, this is essentially a way to treat a behavior change as an actual product or service, if you will. Just like you would provide marketing for an iPhone, a university, or a barbershop, whatever the product or the service is, you'll provide marketing for that. Well, you would do the same with this specific behavior change that you're trying to implement. Next, the goal here is to influence people of your target audience to voluntarily adopt the health behavior or health technology. So, in doing the cost benefit analysis for the health behavior, the benefits must outweigh the cost, of course, to have people actually change their behavior. Now, it's important to know that not just an increased awareness or increased knowledge, but to actually influence the behavior change. So we want to actually see behavior change. That is the end goal. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And finally, we want to improve personal welfare and improve welfare of society. So the overall health of the society and overall health of individuals is what we are aiming to improve here. Let's talk about what social marketing is not. It is not just advertising or communication. It is very planned with a specific purpose for a specific audience to change their behavior. So it's very strategic. And we're going to talk about the importance of strategic planning a little bit later. It is not a media campaign. It is not intended to reach or influence everyone. Again, it is for your specific target group. Now, it's not a fast process. As with any behavior change, it takes time. Think about how long it takes to change a behavior or a habit that you have or that I have. It takes a very long time. So it's important to remember that and be cognizant of this when planning a social marketing campaign to influence a behavior. And finally, social marketing is not a theory, it is an approach that can be used in health promotions to provide knowledge, awareness, and ultimately lead to a behavior change. And according to our textbook, social marketing provides a process of how behavior tends to change in groups of people or communication. Then what is it? What is social marketing? You're hearing all this information I'm saying, but what is it? So again, social marketing is very systematic. It's systematic and strategic planning process that results in an intervention or a program of some sort. So there are deliberate steps in place that will render a result. It's social or behavior change strategy. It's important to have a mindset for addressing the problem. Again, it's a specific goal in mind to influence a voluntary change. And it's looking at a total package of strategies, carefully choosing them based on the characteristics of your target audience. Now, you do not want to use social marketing if you are only trying to educate or raise awareness. However, if the hope is that education or awareness will lead to a behavior change, then social marketing would be appropriate in that instance. In a nutshell, social marketing is a specific kind of approach to health communications and behavior change that uses the elements of marketing as we know it to achieve specific health. And now, a brief history of social marketing. The social marketing approach was first introduced in the late 1960s by Philip Kotlier and Gerald Zaltman. Since its beginning, It has become widely used in health behavior change efforts in the US and internationally. So, as you can see, it's had pretty significant impacts in terms of implementation globally. An area where we saw a lot of social marketing being used is to change health behavior, specifically in HIV and AIDS program. We've seen it all over the world. It's international now, using a lot of social marketing specifically for HIV and AIDS type of programs. Now, there are four important principles of social marketing, and they are product, price, place, and promotion, also known as the four P's. So let's talk about the four P's. First, we have product. Product is what the audience get or what you are offering. It can be tangible items, it can be intangible items, or it can even be the behavior itself. But it is what the audience is getting from your campaign. All right. And there are important questions here to ask when you're identifying your product. What is the behavior or technology you're offering? What are its benefits? How will the target audience use it? These are all important questions to ask yourself when starting to plan this campaign. Next, we have price, what the audience gives up to get a tangible product. Also, the cost or barriers to making the desired behavior change. This is important because it's important to make sure that your cost benefit analysis is beneficial to the customer in order for them to take advantage of your product. Price. This is what the audience gives up to get a tangible product. It's also the cost or barriers to making the desired behavior change. So the price for social marketing products is not always monetary, but it can even include barriers such as loss of time, decrease in pleasures, low self-esteem, or even embarrassment. These are all prices or things that the client may have to give up or may have to sacrifice when deciding to embark on a new journey, a new behavior in their life. So, what costs are involved with that? How can we minimize these costs for the people who are involved? Next, we want to look at place. This is where the audience is located or gathered, where they're going to perform the desired behavior. And we're going to ask a pivotal question here. How do you make the services available to the target audience? You have to make your services available for the target audience where they are. And lastly, here we have promotion. How you promote or make the target audience aware of the previous three. So, how do you make them aware of the product, the price, and the place, the things you have in place for them here? There's different ways to do it. You can use messages, materials are important. You have to identify the channels by which you will get this information to them. So, important questions to ask are what incentives will you offer? And again, here, what are your promotion channels? What is your advertising strategies? And who is going to be the face of your brand? I always like to identify kind of the meat of any phenomenon, the real deal, what goes on behind it. It's fine to see it in theory or on paper and say, this is what it should be, this is what it looks like. What is it like in real life when it's actually applied? And so that's what we're going to look at in the next portion of the PowerPoint, social marketing in action. So there's some key points here that we need to be aware of when identifying that, and that is that action is the objective. So we are hoping to have a behavior change. The target audience is always the focus. The exchange is critical. You have to be aware of your segment markets within your target audience. You need to make sure you're implementing and using all four of the four P's. You want to analyze and be aware of competition or similar programs. And you have to be sure to monitor your program and be flexible. And down at the bottom here, we have some flyers from other social marketing health campaigns in the past. You can see here all the way to the left, one for HIV and AIDS awareness, another that says, are you pouring on the pounds? That's to increase water intake and eliminate soda intake. And we have one here with Smokey the Bear, which I think we all can remember from our childhood. One from Truth, which we're going to go into detail about later. Go before you show. And this is to get expectant mothers to start prenatal care as soon as possible. And of course, the latest trend here, please don't text and drive. And safe to sleep to have babies on their back. So these are all examples of social marketing campaigns that are in action. We're going to examine Florida's Truth campaign. Now, this is a statewide social marketing health campaign to reduce tobacco use in Florida. The Florida Truth anti-smoking campaign built a new product and they branded it, and they did an excellent job at doing so. This was definitely during our lifetime, so if we can think back, we will probably remember seeing commercials and different things of that nature. We were the target audience at the time that this campaign was launched. So it's very vivid in my mind, and I can remember so many things about it, which why is why I chose to do this one. Now, the product in action here is to make it cool by attacking adults who wanted to manipulate teens to smoke. So they kind of demonized the tobacco companies and adults that were sort of luring high schoolers or teenage students to smoke. And they reduced the price of the behavior by selecting adults who agreed that, yes, they had been manipulated to smoke as teenagers. And they created truth chapters all throughout the state of Florida to educate youth about the dangers of tobacco use. And of course, they used promotion, but promotion that went beyond the traditional media ads to having kids directly confront the tobacco industry and publicize this teen terrorism in popular media. Now, because this model was so successful in Florida, it's been adopted by many different states and many different foundations. And one specifically is the Legacy Foundation National Anti Smoking Campaign. They kind of followed the model that the Truth Campaign had, and it's been effective as well. And the results from this campaign were staggering. In just 2 years, from the years of 1998 to 2000, the percent of Florida middle schoolers who smoked cigarettes in the past 30 days fell from 18.5% to 8.6%, while high schoolers went from 27.4 to 20.9. This is a huge reduction in a behavior, and that's exactly what they were aiming for. So it was very successful. Now, as you can see here, here are two graphs that outline information about this campaign. And you can see from April 1998 to May 1999, it started at a baseline of about 5% of the target population had an awareness level about this campaign, and it continually increased over the next year. You can see by the end of the program, the campaign theme was well over half. The logo was over 65%. The ads was over 85%, and likewise, the campaign components were over 85%. It was very successful in getting the awareness out there about their campaign. And the outcomes, cigarette use among Florida teens reduced. Middle schoolers, it went from 18.5% to 15%. And for high schoolers, it went from 27.4 to 25.2. And that is just this over the span of 1 year. So let's look at behind the scene of how the Truth Campaign works. What's going on behind the scene here? The Truth Campaign incorporates research and evaluation through its marketing plan to ensure that program goals are meeting their overall objectives. During the course of the campaign's first year, several independent studies were administered to collect baseline data and make incremental program evaluation. Program monitoring was important in the Truth Campaign. It was used to measure the effectiveness of Florida Tobacco pilot programs, which was the marketing agency they were using. And the data collected by this agency indicated that it increased brand awareness. There was a survey done in September of 1998 where they asked about the awareness for 12 to 17-year-old students, and students knew about this program from top to bottom. They knew all about it. In fact, the awareness level was at 92% when the target was initially 85%. So they blew their target out of the water, and this was just after 5 months. So it was very successful in reaching its target audience and it's for getting the information out there. And even more impressive is that it increased behavior and attitude change because they demonized this company or tobacco use. Teenagers were just not smoking like they were. They had increased knowledge and it influenced their behavior change. So it set out, it was highly effective in getting the objective, the overall goal to change that behavior. And that's exactly what they accomplished with the Truth Campaign. Here we're going to look at some demographics about the Truth Campaign. Some of this might be a bit redundant, but I want you all just to get a graph of what it looks like. And it was for the state of Florida in the United States. The target audience was Florida teen ages 12 through 17. There were 4 objectives, as you can see listed here. Number 1 was to reduce youth tobacco use by changing the attitude of the teenagers. 2, to reduce the availability and youth access to tobacco products. 3, to reduce youth exposure to secondhand smoke. And 4, to increase youth empowerment through community involvement. And I tell you, they were so effective in doing this because I was definitely that 12-year-old at the time that this was launched. And I remember saying to someone, oh my goodness, this is secondhand smoke, which I didn't know about it prior to this campaign. They used a lot of different type of marketing and media tools, television, print ads, billboards, posters. We've all probably seen the commercial, and I have two here on the left side of the slide that you'll be able to look at and see the the commercials in case you have not seen them. In case you're not, maybe you're not from Florida, you just haven't seen it. You can just click on them, and it'll take you right to the YouTube video. And here we have the donor sponsored and the duration from 1998 to present. So it is still a model that is used. It is still a campaign that is very active and very alive today. So here we are. I'm just going to click and play the videos.